1865. That's when the 13th Amendment formally ended slavery. However, some say there are still distinct links from slavery to modern society.
19 News reporters Harry Boomer and Sia Nyorkor examine the impact of slavery today in 400 years, the vestiges of slavery in Cleveland.
This country's history is complicated. In 1619, the first Africans came to the eastern shores of America. Some say they were enslaved. Others say they were indentured servants. Either way, there is no arguing that an estimated 400,000 Africans endured a life of captivity in North America. Many slaves fled the southern states, headed north for a life of hope. While many in their quest for freedom made their way to Canada, some first came through Ohio. These freedom seekers made their way to Cleveland along the Underground Railroad. Incredible individuals, black and white, risked their lives to help people to freedom.
And here were people who had, almost nothing and risked everything for freedom. And that's just so inspiring.
Cleveland Public Theater holds an annual event called Station Hope to celebrate the history and to come together as a community.
Having a woman who grew up in this neighborhood, a white woman who grew up in this neighborhood, having a 10-minute conversation with a girl who lives in Lakeview Terrace Estates, just a couple blocks north of us here, who performed on stage here, and seeing connections being made for both of them about each other's lives. That kind of bridge building is really what this event's all about.
The event is held at St. John's Episcopal Church, or what was known as Station Hope. It is a documented historic Underground Railroad site. Through these doors, we talked with 90-year-old Joan Southgate.
This is the original bell.
In 2002, Southgate, then 73, walked the path many escaped slaves took to freedom.
I found that once I began, the walking was easy. Easy for a little old 73-year-old woman. It was easy. So what was that? Spirit. Spirit. Spirit.
Her 519-mile journey started in Ripley, Ohio, and ended in Canada. Historians say these freedom seekers climbed these narrow steps and hid in this bell tower in fear of getting caught and being sent back south to bondage.
It was almost as if there was a silence, an overwhelming feeling of connection.
We are still dealing with the vestiges of slavery.
Dr. Ronnie Dunn, a professor of urban studies at Cleveland State University, led the way for an entire year of events commemorating 1619. This was important for Cleveland and the community.
To look at the history, but look at strategies and solutions to remedying these vestiges of structural racism that are still with us. Life expectancy, health outcomes, wealth, income, education, incarceration, virtually every measure of well-being, African Americans are at or near the bottom.
Many experts we talk with outlined what they see as the vestiges of slavery.
White supremacy.
Judge Michael Nelson, Cleveland Municipal Court.
So for the vast majority of this country's history, we have lived subservient to white supremacy, to white people.
Slavery really resulted in the enrichment of one group and the complete economic disadvantage of another.
Rev Marvin McMickle, former pastor of Antioch Baptist Church in Cleveland.
Ownership of property, access to education, which allows for upward mobility, all of these things continue with us to this day.
We've only scratched the surface of the vestiges of slavery.
I was silent about a lot of stuff I was going through.
Watch our next report Thursday night, the trauma African Americans are still dealing with from hundreds of years of slavery.